It is the 41st millennium. Mankind battles for survival across the universe, besieged on all fronts by the heretic, the mutant, and the alien. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. One faction of Space Marines stands amidst the chaos, the mightiest of the Emperor's warriors, and a beacon of light in the darkness. This legion, the 9th Legion of Adeptus Astartes, the Blood Angels. Good evening, folks. Hello. How's everyone doing? Evolution of Gaming, good evening. Andrew, what's happening? Mike, good evening. Adrian, good evening. Knight of Baal, Fox, what is happening, guys? I don't know if you saw my video, but apparently Desolation Marines win tournaments, huh? So, maybe it might be a good idea to get 3 colours on some Desolation Marines. So that's where we're at. That's what we're going to be doing. I'm going to probably just do, like, their missile launchers black, and then all the cabling to the missile launchers grey. It'll be a good start, right? Word up, Mike. How are you? Hobbying tonight, Mike? I have 10 of these guys, and I actually have 5 more of them brand new on sprue. I bought them right after their points went, right before their points went up in cost. So I wasn't really sure if I was making the extra like, a couple of people were winning events with like 30 Desolation Marines, right? So maybe I jumped the gun. I haven't decided if I'm going to build those other 5, but I'm at the point with 10th edition where I'm finding lots of different units and I'm getting 3 coats of paint on them, so I have options. And options are always a good thing, I guess. Dark Ginger, what's evening? Spilling red on your Imperial Fist is officially a meme. Hey, my list's got 2 Death Company units in it. They're Blood Angels, and my list's got jump packs in it too. I mean, I don't know if Imperial Fists use very many jump packs. But no, I get you. I mean, a few people, the comment section was quite divided this week on this week's video, I'll tell you that. Because some people really hate the idea of having to play Blood Angels as melee, or as not melee, as a shooting. Like, some people really hate that. I can understand, especially if Blood Angels have always been a melee chapter for you. When I started playing Blood Angels really weren't a melee chapter. Like, I actually don't even remember what your chapter tactic was in 2nd edition. I don't even know if you got one. But when I started playing Blood Angels, like, my list used to be Predators and Razorbacks and attack bikes. And let me think for a second. Multiple tactical squads. There were no Sangray Guard. The Honor Guard came out a few years after I started playing. I don't actually think I owned any Honor Guard. And back when I started, you were only allowed 1 Death Company, and you couldn't choose how many models were in the Death Company. There was some crazy rule that at the start of the battle, you rolled for all your models, and some of them joined the Death Company. So for me, it doesn't feel too horrible playing Blood Angels. It feels strange, don't get me wrong, it feels super strange, because I haven't played like a tank-based force in probably like 20 years, but it is what it is. You know, someone said in the comments, they're like, I'd rather take Sons of Sanguinius Detachment and lose than run this armor-based list. And I was like, well, if that's what you want to do, go for it. But I like to win games. So, who knows if armor is going to get changed? Who knows? Armor might stay super strong this edition. But, I mean, I play to win. I play to go to tournaments, I play to win. So, if the units that I'm playing don't win, then I'll change to some units that do win, right? So I guess take it as it is, I guess. I mean, we don't really have a choice. But I'll tell you right now that playing Sons of Sanguinius, I haven't won a single game of Sons of Sanguinius in 10th edition. Not a single game, but everybody I'm playing against is running really armor-heavy meta lists. So maybe I don't know. I was very frustrated playing Sons of Sanguinius, let's just put it that way. I'm on 4 wins in a row in the Gladius detachment with my armor-heavy list, though. Hoping to make it 5 wins in a row this week. The list is fine, I think. It's a bit different from the one that we covered yesterday, but it's okay. David says, I saw the video, thinking about taking Librarian Dreadnought now, even if I don't go down the Desolation Marine route. I mean, I guess the advantage to the Desolation Marines is you don't have to make a charge, right? That's the risky thing with playing Blood Angels. You always have to make those 9-inch charges, David. So I can understand why you would take Desolation Marines, because you know they're relatively low risk, right? You choose your Oath of Moment target, then you teleport the Marines, and most of the time they just teleport and then they just shoot the living crap out of the thing you want to shoot and they kill it. Because I think a 10-man squad of Desolation Marines with Oath of Moment, arguably even backed up with a Thunderstrike, just kill it. Like, not many things can survive against that. Maybe like a toughness 13 great unclean one who's got that, I think it's called like demonic invulnerability, where he can save on 4s and then has a 4-up feel no pain, and then he can reroll failed saves of 1. Maybe he can survive the 10 Desolation Marines, but there's not many things in the game right now that will be able to survive against that. Is a Battle Predator auto-include now? Well, I'm not running them. I think at 125 points, I think they're fairly decent. I really like the idea of teaming them up with the Thunderstrike to make them more than just like a single... more than like a one-trick pony, like so that they can kill more than just infantry, because I guess the Thunderstrike giving them +1 to hit will help a lot against like non-infantry targets, right? It's a random Death Company rule was 3rd edition. Second edition had the temporary wound. Oh yeah, so Death Company had a temporary wound during the battle, and then at the end of the battle you had to remove 1 wound from all your models. How did that even work, Mike? Could you... I actually don't know how that worked. Could you put the wounds across multiple models? Did you not have to kill models like you do nowadays when it took wounds? I don't even remember 2nd edition. It's been 20 something years, more 30 years since 2nd edition probably. Building lists without jump packs feel weird. Well, I purposely have some jump packs in my list. It's just 1 5-man squad, but it does feel very different to just have 1 squad of them and also not being very reliant on them. Blood Angels didn't have a chapter tactic in 2nd edition. Fair enough. It's hard to, like I said, it's hard for me to remember all the way back then. I don't know if anyone had chapter tactics back in 2nd edition. I don't think that was even I don't think that was a game mechanic. I don't remember. But yeah, I think 10th edition is good. I do think it's good. We're just going to have to adapt for the moment. And I think it's also good that we're not getting our codex straight away. Because I think there's going to be so much rebalancing that if we got our codex like as one of the first chapters like we did in 9th edition, you can bet your ass that you can bet your ass almost that those first codexes are going to struggle towards the end of the edition. But it does seem like the codexes are pretty slow this edition. I mean, the codexes were slow last edition, right? Khorne only got their codex like a hot minute before 10th edition released. So it wasn't like they were even fast with the codexes last edition, but I do think that they seem like the first wave of codexes seems quite slow. But then maybe that's just my opinion. What do other people think in the chat? Do they think it's been quite slow for these first round of codexes? Like, I guess it's going to be like 3 months before we even get a single codex, right? Was it as long as that? I don't think it was as long as that in 9. But maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. Evening man, what's happening? Ninja Lee says, I got stuck with 2 boxes of Assault Marines just as they announced they were going to Legends. I'm running them as Vanguard veterans. They've done me well, but the shields are a lot weaker. Yeah, I've ran Vanguard veterans like once. Maybe twice. I think they are weaker. I guess the way to get Vanguard veterans to be good probably would be to team them up with a Sanguinary Priest, so you get the additional point of AP and you get the additional 5 up Feel No Pain. I think that's probably the best way that's how I would advise running Van Vets, but when I was running them, they definitely didn't... Well, I played them into Knights, I think, and they didn't do well into Knights. I may have played them into Eldar as well, but that would have been like pre-nerf Eldar when they could just mortal wound the entire army to death. So, yeah, maybe I need to give Vanguard veterans another shot. It's super annoying, though. I get what you're saying about, like, it is super annoying if you just bought some models right before they went into Legends. It was just bad timing, I guess. Not much you can do about it. You kind of just have to suck it up and move on, I guess. I've had so many streams where I've been complaining about the Legends changes. I'm going to try and put it to bed now and not get drawn into the debate anymore. So, yeah, I'm sorry it happened to you, but that's... It happened to me too, and I guess that's why I've been way too bitter about it. So I'm going to try and not talk about it much anymore. Second edition, the worst thing was the Orc Pulsar Rocket. And it knocking down your whole army. I don't even remember an Orc Pulsar Rocket. Oh, let me turn my phone on to mute. Sorry if you're hearing like my text messages come in. I remember Vortex Grenades in 2nd edition. They were lots of fun. Anyone that never played 2nd edition, they were basically a grenade that when you threw it, it scattered. And then I think after that, it might have moved a couple, like in future turns, it might have still been on the battlefield moving around. And anything it touched was just instantly destroyed. Basically, it created like imagine it as a black hole grenade. And you just threw it, and anything it touched was dead. It just sucked it into the black hole, basically. And, yeah, I mean... I don't remember all that many games that I played that had Vortex Grenades, but I do remember some games just being won or lost on a single throw of a Vortex Grenade. The game was a bit crazy back then. Miguel says I'm too stubborn to abandon Astaroth or take any more armor than a Land Raider. See, I was stubborn, Miguel, for about 5 games, and I lost every single game. And then after like losing 5 games on the row or something, I think I lost my first 5 games of 10th edition. I remember driving home from one of the games I played, just swearing to myself over and over in my car. It must have been like, I can't remember what I played against that night, but I remember just driving home in my car. Like, it was a game that I played on stream, and I think it might have been against Miles. I'm trying to think what Miles was playing. I think he might have been playing Knights. Yeah, I think he was playing Knights, and I think it was when the Knights were still re-rolling hits and wounds of 1. So I think I just drove home that night, just swearing to myself in the car, like, like so angry about the balance in 10th edition, and that, like, yeah, I think that was Miles, because in 9th edition, me and Miles had a lot of games against each other, and our win rate was very, very similar, in that, like, let's say we played 10 games, we both won 5, and because Blood Angels were very Alpha Strike, and Eldar are also very Alpha Strike, it really meant that whoever went first had like a little bit of an edge to win. And I know that because I played Miles at a tournament, like a GT, and it was like the 4th game. So I want to say we were both 3-0 maybe. And basically that was it. So whoever won the game between me and Miles was going to play Gav at the top table. I think that was what was going to happen. And basically, like, I deployed quite aggressively, and Miles deployed quite aggressively, and Miles went first, and he killed way more than I had expected, and he won the game, and he went on and played Gav, and ultimately Gav won the tournament. But regardless, it was all about getting the game against Gav. And then, basically, like, a week after Miles beat me in that tournament, he came onto the channel for a game with a very similar list, and I was probably playing a very similar list, like a very small tweak from the tournament. And in the game on the channel, I went first, right? And then I won. So I was like, that's what sort of convinced me that, like, hey, me and Miles are kind of even in terms of, like, strategies and stuff. We know both how the game works, we know how to make best use of our units, etc, stuff like that. And because both of us deploy very aggressively, if we go first, we're going to do a lot of damage to the other player and almost make it very difficult for the other player to come back. So that was what happened. And like, I played Miles for like the 4th time and lost again for the 4th time, and I was like, oh my god, that was the catalyst for me. I was like, right, I am not running infantry lists anymore. I'm going to try an armor list. I'm going to just, because I don't have all those armor units, I'm just going to try what I've got, make an armor list. And I made that armor list, and I've just started winning every game since I made it, and I've not looked back since. Obviously, I've not played Elder again, but yeah, up until that point, Miguel, I was sort of hanging on. I was like, I'm not gonna just go and play all armor. I'm not gonna do it, but I guess now I am. Egypt says he's loving the changes 10th edition has brought in, running a Stormhawk, anti-fly 2+, and useful hunting, and the corner hiding point scorers. Yeah, corner hiding point scorers were kind of a thing in 9th as well, but yeah, I mean, I was going to say jump pack units get a bit countered by anti-fly as well, don't they? Haven't run into too many things with anti-fly, but I'm sure someone's going to, like, if Blood Angel has become meta, I'm sure people will start figuring out and taking a lot of anti-fly stuff, right? Anti-fly 2-up. It's usually anti-fly 2-up rocket pods and stuff. I am really tempted now, though. I really do kind of want to run 10 Desolation Marines and just obnoxiously teleport them around with a Librarian Dreadnought. I think that's a pretty cool idea. I think it's very Alpha Strike, because obviously you can do it in turn 1 as well. It's just a lot of points, a big investment, but I guess you could kill just about anything with it, right? Juan says he played the Desolation Squadron Librarian Dreadnought combo for a long time, but found them really ineffective against too many opponents. Oh really? What opponents did you find them ineffective against? Greetings Silent Phoenix, what's happening? Eternal Crusaders in the house, good evening. Brassing up some Chaos Raptors. Cool, I'm 3-coloring up some Desolation Marines, I guess. Marcus, what's happening? Good evening. How's everybody's Saturday been? I hope you've had a good day. I've had a nice day. I bought a cross trainer for my house, so I've got less excuse to do exercise now. So I've got a cross, like, it's not the greatest cross trainer, but I've got a cross trainer in my garage now, so I used that today and yesterday. Hey, thank you so much for subscribing. I Hate Twitch has subscribed on Twitch. Well, if you hate Twitch, come over to YouTube, because we're here on YouTube as well. Thanks for that. I appreciate the subscription. It's my son's birthday. Had everyone around for a barbecue and it started raining just as I lit it up. Isn't that just the way of living in the UK though, Mike? I mean, like, I think it rains in Scotland more than it rains in England, but yeah, I mean, anytime you want to do a barbecue in Scotland, you need to be prepared for rain, I feel like. Do you have, like, I was going to say, did you get wet? Did you throw on a jacket and do it anyway, or did you give up? I'm not sure if I'm going to be playing I'm not in a rush to play the Desolation Marines. Like, I obviously played them in a few games and thought they were okay. But yeah, no, they're just, obviously they're in a horrifically basically been undercoated, and then they were left, so just get a tiny little bit of colour into their guns, so that I don't know what I'm going to end up fielding when I go to a tournament. I literally have no idea at the moment. With a balanced data slate apparently rumoured in the next few weeks, I guess lots of people have no idea what they're taking. But I figured it might not be a bad idea to just have... I got 3 colours on my Repulsor and my Ballistus Dreadnought the other night, so now it's time to just get 3 colours on Desolation Marines. Plus, I'm looking for something chill tonight for painting. I don't want to be too accurate or anything like that. Just chill out. Oh, it was you on Twitch. Okay. Just so you get the notifications. Alright, I appreciate it, dude. Yeah, all the streams come out on Twitch as well, but the best place, the place to support the channel really is YouTube. Is a Stormhawk Interceptor a meta pick against Drukhari and Eldar? Is it? I actually don't own a Stormhawk. Some of the units that I don't own, I guess I don't check their data sheets as in depth as the ones that I do own, I guess. What's good about the Stormhawk Highland Phoenix? I'm assuming you're going to tell me it's got some sort of anti-vehicle / anti-fly, right? The Desolation Squads into Necrons is a terrible matchup. If the Necron player is running a semi-meta list, Tau and Knights all counter them pretty hard. Really, because I feel like you can play some stratagems. If you're using the Apothecary to get the extra shots from the Desolation, or the extra... If you're using the Apothecary with Bolter Discipline to get the sustained hits, and then you're using like Oath of Moment, and you're using like Storm of Fire to get +1 to your AP, I feel like Desolation Marines should be pretty good into like, surely at that point they start wiping whole blobs of Necron models. Like whole big squads would just get wiped in one turn, right? Like surely they wipe 20 warriors. Maybe... Yeah, surely they do, right? Surely. Why are they bad into Necrons? Tell me. Tell me. I need to nap from a drink from a blood chalice during exercise. No. I drink water mainly, man. Like when I was younger, I used to drink Red Bull every single day, and then after doing that for a bunch of years, I like changed my habits big time. So I like barely. I think most weeks I probably drink 1 can of soda maximum, but sometimes, like this week, I haven't had one, so I don't mind water. Alright, I got 10 of these bloody guns to do. God, it's been a while since I did a batch paint, I guess. Lichguard and Catan. Well, I mean, do Catan even have wound caps anymore? Lots of Dark Eldar and Tau units have the fly keyword. Everything is anti-fly 2-up. I mean, I guess if you're running the Stormhawk, sure. Anti-fly 2-up, I mean, anything that is anti-fly is generally pretty handy, right? But yeah, I mean, flyers have their own problems, right? Like, they can't hold objectives, I assume they can't do actions, they don't count for behind enemy lines. So there's like... On one side you get that anti-fly 2-up, and then on the other side you have all the downfalls, so like... I don't know if... I haven't really seen anyone going heavy on flyers in 10th edition, I guess. Maybe someone's gonna do it, but I haven't seen it yet, Highland Phoenix. The Enchanted Catan. I don't know what the Enchanted Catan is, tell me. Do you want Necrons or there's a couple armies that nobody has in my meta. Andrew did have Necrons, but he sold them, I think, so... you know what? John has Necrons, actually. Yeah, I haven't had John on the channel in like a year. I'll need to ask him if he wants to come and bring his Necrons, but what's an enchanted Catan? Or transcendent Catan? Space Marines are never a competitive list no matter what the chapter. Desolation Marines, Apothecary, Lancers, Repulsors, Eradicators and Infiltrators. I don't think Eradicators are good at all now. I haven't seen any tournament winning lists with Eradicators, but maybe there is some. I just think Eradicators don't... Like, they're there to kill armor, and they just don't kill armor in my experience of running them. I ran them with the Biologists and Bolter Discipline and still thought they were cack, so I'm not sure I'm sold on... well, I'm definitely not sold on... Eradicators, but the rest of the stuff you mentioned is pretty good, yeah. I don't necessarily feel like you have to have Desolation Marines. I guess a couple of people have won events with them, but I mean, have they still been winning events since they went up 100 points a squad? Philip, good evening. Drizzle says, the one with the 4-up Feel No Pain enhancement is harder to kill than the old damage cap. Yeah, there's a few units that have a 4-up Feel No Pain. I was playing against a toughness 13 Great and Clean one with a 4-up Feel No Pain, and I shot my entire army at it, and like I had most of my tanks still on the table, so I had like tanks shooting it from like all sorts of crazy ranges. And I think I did like 5 wounds to it. I was like, oh my god, I just wasted an entire battle round. Or an entire turn, maybe is the better term. Wasted an entire turn shooting this Great and Clean one and barely did any damage to it whatsoever. I was like, oh my god. If I came up against that again, I think I just have to ignore the Great and Clean one. He's just... if he's in the I think they were playing... He, at that point, I think he was in the Shadow of the Warp. I think he was playing like Demonic Invulnerability. I think that's the name of the strat. So it's like saving on 4s, re-rolling 1s, and then 4-up Feel No Pain. And it's just like he just so darn tank. Like I shot him with everything, like multiple Lancers, multiple Vindicators. Multiple Predators. It's like I don't even think I did 10 wounds to him. I was like, oh my goodness, it was such a mistake of a turn. I was like, yeah, if I fight that again, because the Great and Clean one actually doesn't do as much damage as any of the other Greater Demons, right? He's just supposed to be like a bullet magnet or a sponge or something. So I think if I come up against that again, I guess I fall back from the... He's probably the slowest Greater Demon as well, right? So yeah, fall back from him. Stormhawk gets +1 to hit versus fly, has 6 times strength 7 anti-fly 2-up twin link -1 2 damage, and 3 times strength 8 anti-fly 2-up -1 3 damage, and a twin assault cannon. Twin assault cannons are so bad now, though. Desolation Marines are the strongest if you give them the Bolter Discipline. Yeah, I mean, I think they're the best target in the game for Bolter Discipline. Like I said, I tried Bolter Discipline on Eradicators because I thought it would be really good because the Eradicators like built-in rerolls, but it did so bad. I think 6 Eradicators with a Bolter Discipline Biologist didn't even... And lethal hits. I think I had lethal hits on, as well because of the Biologist. They didn't even kill an Armiger. I was like, oh my god, this is such a waste of points. And also, they don't have good range anymore because of the multi-melta range reduction thing. So, Eradicators for me, I don't think I'll be running them. Use Goonhammer to look at the top 4 and pick the patterns. Well, yeah, I mean, I'm just giving you my opinion on Eradicators. I don't like them. all I can tell you is that I played them one time and buffed them as much as I possibly could and still didn't think they were very good. But if other people are winning tournaments with them, then, I mean, I've not won any tournaments, you know, in 10th edition. So, I haven't even been to a tournament in 10th edition yet. I'm actually kind of amazed that people, like, I don't know, I guess if you really love 40k, it's okay to go to a tournament when the rules are all messed up, but for me, I prefer to wait till the rules are... Like, I hate going to a tournament when I kind of know that my faction's rubbish. Or I know that, like, there's a faction that's just, like, 20% ahead of everybody. It kind of... Because, I mean, I like making friends, sure, at tournaments, and it was cool to win sportsmanship, but ultimately I go to win, right? Like, I don't go to just be like, oh, well, my faction sucks, I'm just gonna have 3 games where I know that I have to lose because my faction sucks. Like, no, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. So basically, I just don't put myself in that situation because it frustrates me, I guess. Warpsmith's also going to be Warpsmith Adam, good evening. You're going to be working on the T-shirt cannon Marines as well. Yeah, I mean, why not, huh? With Oath of Moment, they can shoot lots of T-shirts. I think things will be better when they nerf the hell out of Eldar. They have a higher tournament win rate than over half the faction in the game. Yeah, I mean... I'm hoping that they get a good balance patch on Eldar with this update. Like, it's got to be... Because their last patch barely even touched them, right? Like, the change to the Fate dice. Like, it was nowhere near enough. Yeah, I would. If I'd gone to a tournament and had to play Eldar, I would have been very, very frustrated. I mean, I've never, like, bailed out of a tournament, like, left early or anything like that. Like, not played one of my games, but I've definitely, like, finished my 5 games and then just instantly left before. Like, in like, one of the seasons in 9th edition where I just felt like the balance was absolutely terrible. I think it was the season before Armor of Contempt came out. Blood Angels were just in a terrible win rate spot, and, like, I think Marines in general were just really struggling because all the Codex creep had come out. And I think I was at an event, and, like, I finished my 5th game, and I played someone that, like, you know, like, you get to know people when you play in tournaments, and you get to know how good they are. So I played someone that I knew I was a better player than, and just got completely destroyed, and I was like, okay, you know, tournament's over, I'm just leaving. Like, rather than, like, get upset or get salty or whatever, just go home. And I think I left because I was like, oh, I'm gonna go spend time with my kids and try and just enjoy my weekend, because that was a complete waste of my time. So yeah, it can happen. I really hope that they have a really good balance patch. Like, really, like, I really want to see more armies. Like, and I really want them this season to actually tackle, like, 45% armies, or this edition. Like, I hate it when they just say, like, oh, this army's at 55%, well, we'll just leave it. Or this army's at 45%, we'll just leave it. No, at 55%, sure, you're telling me there isn't, like, one little tweak you could make or something to fix it? Same with the 45%, you couldn't tweak, like, one of their best units down, like, 1 point a model? Push them up a couple of points? Like, it's, you know, they talk a lot in the Meta Watch about, like, they've got the tools now for balancing using points coster. That's what they want to, that's the situation they want to be in. So, well, if that's the situation they want to be in, that's my thought on it. Todd, good evening, how are you? Philip's away to Nova next weekend. Good luck, Philip. I think there's going to be some new announcements, new model announcements. It's expensive, but it's kind of fun to do aggressors with bolters and grenades with the Biodualist and bolter discipline. You need a redeemer to get them around, but they do delete stuff. I don't know if you necessarily need a redeemer. I've been having quite a lot of fun with the repulsor. I was going to say, do aggressors get enough shots now, though? Because they're basically half because all their weapons are twin linked, right? I hate Fate and Miracle Dice in a dice rolling game. I mean, I don't mind them if they're balanced, Highland Phoenix. But yeah, the Fate Dice and Miracle Dice give those players like lots of really reliable options. And I guess a good general can really get the best out of those options. Just got drawn against Sisters of Battle for a tournament game. Any suggestions? Looks like I'm going to be building 10 Desolators. I mean, the list that I'm running on my live battles at the moment doesn't have any Desolators in it, and it beats Sisters of Battle. And it beat like a triple Castigator slash Immolator. I think it was triple Castigator, triple Immolator list. Which I actually thought was... it was a pretty close game, I think, but you know, I'm running Repulsor, Vindicators, Predator, Destructors, some Centurions, some Death Company with jump packs. Like, you don't have to have Desolation Marines. I'm only painting these guys just because I finished 3 colours on all my armour. That's what my list's called now, the parking lot. Is it Island Phoenix? Is that what you guys are referring to my list, the parking lot? I mean, the parking lot's got 4 wins on a row, right? So if I beat Miles this week, then the parking lot's got 5 wins in a row. And that, at what point does my parking lot list get some, at what point do you guys appreciate my parking lot list than just flaming it for being a parking lot? What's even funnier about the list I'm running is I literally just picked whatever... Like, I don't have that many tanks. I have some, but not that many, so it's just a mishmash. I don't know if you know that word, that phrase. It just means, like... If I said you were having mishmash for dinner, it just means, like, we're just opening up the cupboard and just picking random tins and random things to eat, right? So my list is literally just a mishmash of the vehicles that I have. Like, I don't have every vehicle. I mean, I guess I've got a couple of Land Raiders that didn't make it into the list, but I don't like Land Raiders all that much. And I guess my Whirlwind didn't make it into the list either, but I don't like the Whirlwind all that much in 10th edition either. My parking lot list is just like... So, ignoring my Land Raiders and ignoring Dreadnoughts for the most part, because Dreadnoughts are super costly. I don't know why Dreadnoughts are so many points, but they are. And I've got more Dreadnoughts than I do tanks, so it's like, what's left over is just a bunch of random mishmash tanks. And that's what my list is. And it's a bit sad that list has got like more wins on the trot than any of the other melee version list, any of the Blood Angel specific stuff that I tried, but it's just the way it is right now, I guess. Armor is just far too like, tanks are just far too cheap, I guess. Yeah, my list has some Death Company in it, not much. I have no units for 10th edition. I'm in a much worse state. Well, hopefully they're going to fix that, and you're not going to have to go and buy a million tanks and stuff. They're gonna somehow, I don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to make armor weaker and infantry better. Like, that's what they kind of need to do. I just don't know how they're going to do it. I think it would be very difficult for them to do it, to be honest. You should consider investing in Black Legion contrast. You can just cover most of those blacks in one go. Don't you have to paint it white before you do Black Legion contrast? I only have one contrast paint, honestly. Never really got into contrast paints. Warpsmith Adam says he's consigned to just being a Vehicle Edition. I don't think it is going to be a Vehicle Edition. Knight of Baal says it is right now, but I honestly think they're going to fix it. I just don't know. I think they're going to have to. Knight of Baal says I'll be posting what I've put together so far in Discord, but could use with advice as to good units to buy next to give me a well-rounded army. Should I go Blade Guard or Sanguinary Guard? I mean, if you don't have either, I would go Blade Guard right now, purely because Firstborn units... Like, I heard a rumour today, or maybe it was yesterday, where people were basically saying, like, all Firstborn units are going to be retired. Like, it's just a matter of time. So, like, any Firstborn unit that you have, just be aware that at some point is going to go Legends. So, like, based on that, it's like, I'd sort of say, like, don't buy any Firstborn units, because, I mean, unless you're okay with them just becoming Legends. I guess if you're okay with them becoming Legends and you don't play competitively, then maybe it's fine. I mean, at what point will the Sanguinary Guard go Legends? At what point will the Death Company go Legends? I don't have a clue. Oh, Black Legion is the one that covers everything. Black Templar is the one that's see-through. Okay. And they're both contrast paints, or just the... I'm getting confused with the Black Templar one, thinking this Black Legion one is contrast paint. Oh well, I'm used to painting too thin coats, so it doesn't really bother me. Like I said, I'm probably not even going to field these guys for a while, so I'm just going to get three... I'm just literally going to paint their guns black, and paint all these, like, cables silver, and that's all I'm going to do to these guys. That's my daughter up. I'll be back in just a sec, sorry. Hey sweetheart, just hang on. Alright, what's up? So there's apparently Generation 2 contrast. Yeah, like I said, I never really got into the contrast, just because I'm painting... I'm just matching colour schemes with my Blood Angels, so... I don't know, I feel like if I was going to do another army now, I'm going to use contrast on it 100%. because it takes me so long to paint these guys, and I think I would do it like much more slapdash, in that like I would just you know, like 3 color every model and not try and like strive for like a high level of quality. But I guess with the Blood Angels, I've been doing them so long and I've got them all matching, so I guess I'm always going to strive for like 2 thin coats and a high level of quality, which I guess is my own worst enemy. It's why it takes me so long to get all the units finished. If I showed you like my pile of shame at some point, which is like a drawer of models that have 3 colours on them, it's disgusting how many models that I have 3 colours. Probably like, it's got to be at least 100, maybe even 200. It's just like, these guys have just been rushed to a 3 colour standard so I can play them at an event, and then I'll slowly, very slowly over time, finish them. Do you think we'll get a new Death Company kit? They won't just pull the old ones and leave us only with Intercessors kit. I hope to God no, because I think Death Company Intercessors are rubbish. I kind of hate their lack of weapon options. But I mean, that's a thing with the Primaris models, right? Like a lot of those Primaris kits, like look at like Blade Guard, look at like Infiltrators, look at Eliminators, look at Outriders. Like so many of them just do not have weapon options. And I understand why they do that, right? It's so that they can balance the game better. But like, that's sort of like the ironic thing, in that like the balance of the game right now is just so terrible, with like vehicles just dominating so heavily. But they're like, you know, removing weapon options and giving us like these Primaris kits with less weapon options, which is ironic because the balance is so bad. But I mean, that's the situation that we have right now, so I don't know what else to say about that. Like, I hope that when they do a Blood Angels release or whatnot for like Primaris Death Company or Primaris Sanguinary Guard, we get some weapon options, but I don't think we're gonna, because like if you look at the Sanguinary Guard right now, you know, they've got like Sanguinary Guard are allowed 1 Power Fist per every 5 models. Well, before it was have as many Power Fists as you want. And that's also kind of funny, because Sanguinary Guard are not a good unit right now. Like, everybody can agree that. No one's running Sanguinary Guard. They're not a good unit. So why limiting them? Like, whoever made the rule that's like, oh, well, we better not have Sanguinary Guard with 5 Power Fists. I was like, have you played Sanguinary Guard? Because if you ask me, they're having a couple extra Power Fists is the least of their problems, right? Their like problem is that they're like 43 points per. They're more expensive than Terminators. Like, and anti-fly just blows them up like super quickly. Crispy delicious. Yes, I'm working on I'm working on Desolation Marines. Shoot me. Anyone got wacky predictions for next week's reveals? I think Space Marines are going to get another tank. I think they're going to get Primaris. I think we're going to get Primaris Jump Intercessors. I think that's what it's going to be. Podger says that I should just try contrast paint. Here's the problem, Podger. I don't get much time to experiment though, right? Like, but with work and 2 kids and then basically like a YouTube channel that I make content for every week, I rarely get any time to just... The only time I get like a day or anything where I can like sit down and just play with painting for like a long period of time is like if I'm on holiday for my job. And when I'm on holiday for my job, I usually try and make extra videos for the YouTube channel. So I end up using my time off my real job to make extra YouTube videos. So yeah, I just don't ever get time to just sit around and experiment, I guess. Oh well. It's fine. You just have to, if you're coming in here to see me paint, I guess I'm sure you guys are doing a better job than it. Hey, if you guys are doing an amazing job of painting, then, you know, make your own YouTube tutorial, right? Like, people will watch it. A lot of good painters make videos on YouTube, right? I actually subscribe to like so many painting channels on YouTube, it's ridiculous. So I subscribe to all of them and then actually don't listen to any of them. Probably like people subscribe to me and then don't want to listen to my, you know, hey, Desolation Marines will win you tournaments, but we don't want to run Desolation Marines, right? We want to run jump units because we're Blood Angels. I get it. I'd be pretty sad if I don't get much in the way of weapon options for Primaris jump pack units. I think I'd be willing to bet like a significant amount of money on it that you'll be able to give the sergeant a weapon upgrade, and that'll be it. Or maybe you'll be like, the sergeant can take a Thunderhammer or a Power Fist, and like one other model will be allowed to take an Eviscerator, and that'll be it. And then everyone else will be stuck with like chain swords and bolt pistols. Because look at Outriders, like for me, Outriders when they first came out, I got a couple of boxes of whatever that was called. Was it Dark Imperium that the Outriders came in? And I was like super excited because I was like, oh cool, Primaris models on bikes, and they're cool, they're big, they could be used to movement block, they're toughness 5, they move fast. These guys will be really useful once. And I played them a couple of times and was like, okay, these guys kind of suck because they just have chain swords, and obviously chain swords are just strength 4 and 1 AP, or I think maybe when they first came out, maybe that was before chain swords even have an AP, I don't remember. But I remember thinking to myself like, oh cool, okay, so I'll put my, at some point when Outriders get some weapon options, these will be pretty cool. And then they got their own like standalone kit with no weapon options. Not even, like, Outriders, you can't even put a weapon, you can't even put a Power Fist on the Sergeant or anything. It's just like, there's nothing. I was like, okay. Like, I feel like Outriders are literally unplayable because they only have strength 4 both in their shooting and their strength 4 in their melee combat. Like, it's just, you know, I get that their bikes just have bolters, that's fine, but like, they're not even allowed a single Power Fist in the squad? Like, what the hell? You'll cry if it happens. I mean, I won't cry, but I'll just be sad, I guess, that we've lost probably even more customization and yeah. It feels like they're just trying to bring it all back to like a base point or something. Outriders were Indomitus. What did I say? The Dark Imperium? Sorry, I get confused. Yeah, I was actually painting my Outriders Death Company colours, and I was really enjoying the painting of them. And I thought the bikes and everything looked really cool in black, and then it was like, oh, but these guys are actually super rubbish on the tabletop. Like, I think I made a couple of videos where I was like, oh, you're just better taking Vanguard vets. I mean, maybe that's not so true now. But, yeah, just strength 4 feels really kind of rubbish. I mean, strength 4 felt kind of rubbish last edition with +1 to wound. I mean, it's even worse now with, like, all the high toughness of everything. You know, like, I feel like one Beast of Nurgle or one, like, Beast of Khorne or something could tar pit, like, a unit of Outriders for the entire game, and there's nothing you can do. They're just completely stuck. They'll never kill it. And slowly but surely they'll just get whittled down and killed themselves. Sangard need to be, basically be jump terminators in terms of defensive profile. I think they should do that, because I think that's the only way they'll ever get them balanced. If I make more YouTube videos, it means I can give you more commissions, Mike. I'm glad that you're supporting me, Mike, with the ability to do commissions. Thank you. Yeah, there'll be a commission soon again, Mike. Don't worry. Hopefully this time I won't pick 3 or 4 units that actually get legends, though, eh? I'm holding on to all my units that have gone legends. I'm not selling any of them, though. I'm not planning on playing Horus Heresy. I'm just going to hold on to them. I spent time on them. Eventually maybe I'll get like a display cabinet, and I'll put them in the display cabinet, I think. Terrence, if I may, let your paint dry completely before you keep making brush strokes. You're tearing up the little paints that dried, preventing them getting a smooth base coat. This paint's pretty thin, Terrence, but so I'm just, like I said, I'm just slapping it on. I'll go over all, like, this is just one coat, right? I'm planning on coming back and painting the whole, another coat of black over the top. I'm just trying to make sure that I don't miss any bits, so we've got like some red sticking through. I wonder if they think that the I wonder if they think 10 points per model was the right number of points for Desolation Marines. Because like I said, I've not been running them. I don't feel the need to drop any of my armor to run more Desolation Marines. Or to run any Desolation Marines, I guess. I guess probably the reason to throw some paint on these guys is for potentially if they do something to like make infantry better, right? Or make armor weaker, right? Like if they make a significant change to infantry or armor, then I just want to be able to be like, okay, Desolation Marines have some value now, or even more valuable now, I guess. And just throw them onto the tabletop. Look at the Victrix rules and the fact that Marneus and his bodyguards join another squad. That is the best way to protect the Sangre Guard. Let Dante and his bodyguards join the new Primaris jump intercessors. I think Marneus is quite a edge case. I thought it was quite weird that he can join Blade Guard, right? I actually haven't fought Ultramarines yet in 10th edition. Has anyone fought Ultramarines? If so, how are you finding them? Has anyone fought up against Marneus joining the squad of Blade Guard? See, like, I think if I was playing Ultras, I would take Guilliman. So I just think that the double Oath of Moment ability, like, we know how strong Oath of Moment is, right? So being able to do it twice every turn is just kind of insane. It's just almost like guaranteeing you kill 2 units every turn. And most people don't have like all that many units over 10, so if you're just killing 2 units every turn almost guaranteed because you got full hits and wound rerolls, then by the end of the game you've killed a lot of their stuff, right? Yeah, I forgot that you were doing a Thunderhawk commission, Mike. Yeah, good luck with that. You stomped the Ultramarines? So what did he bring? Like, what was the mainstay of his army? See, I don't know if it is about minimizing production cost, Drizzle, because I think that if they did good, like, I think if they did some sprues, right, with like lots of different weapon options on them. I think people would buy them. I would buy them for sure, right? Like, I've lost count of the amount of times that I've like bought a squad of Death Company just to get more Thunderhammers, or I've bought a squad of, oh sorry, I think it was, I've bought a squad of Vanguard Veterans to get more Thunderhammers, or I've bought a squad of Death Company to get more Death Company shoulder pads. Like I don't know why, or I've gone to eBay, because I've done that a lot as well. Like, I've gone to eBay to buy storm shields or something because I needed more storm shields. So I don't know if I necessarily agree with the fact that like they're trying to, the new squads are to keep the production costs down, because they could probably make an absolute load of money, like a load of money, if they sold, because they wouldn't need to sell them super cheap, right? Like, it's just like a specialist item. Like, if you buy, I don't know, how much is a 10-man squad of Death Company Intercessors? I don't know. I'm going to tell you. Element Games, Death Company Intercessors. Death Company Intercessors are like $30, right? And we all know that they're not going to have very many weapon options in there. So they could easily sell for like half the price of the box. And remember, there's 10 infantry in that box. So they could easily sell for like half the price of that box. Like, no more infantry, like no bases, no bodies, no arms. But it could have like, let's say 5 Death Company custom heads, and let's say 5 Death Company custom shoulder pads, because they already do those upgrade sprues for like $10. So they could almost do like a half upgrade sprue, half weapon option sprue, right? For like $15, maybe even $20. So I think like they're leaving a ton of money on the table there, because like I said, there's a bunch of times I've bought other kits to get all the weapon options. I don't want any of the individual models, like the, you know, the legs, the heads, the arms. Like, I didn't want any of that shit. I just wanted, like, you know, if you look at the Firstborn Death Company set, for example, it has like some really cool, like, unique, I guess, shoulder pads and helmets, right, that you don't get in any other kit. And with the discontinuation of the Blood Angels Tactical Squad, you know, like people that want Blood Angel specific heraldry or pieces like that need to buy those kits, or will buy those kits, and I've done it myself a bunch of times. And I guess the Blood Angels Tactical Squad that sells on eBay, every time they go up on eBay, they sell for like $100. So if you've got a Blood Angels Tactical Squad, you can sell it for $100, right? Because obviously there is no Blood Angels Tactical Squad anymore. If that ever goes on like made to order, if you can afford it, you should probably just afford like 20 of them, because they seem to, you know, they just seem to, if everybody does it, then they won't have any value. But if only a few people can afford to buy 20 of them, then you'll be able to make a ton of money, right? But I guess my point is that they could, I don't think it's about saving money there on production, because yes, they've saved money by not putting in more weapon options, but they could actually make a lot more money if they put weapon option boxes out. And they're doing that for Horus Heresy now, right? There's boxes out for lots of different weapon options for Horus Heresy, as far as I'm aware. So if they would do that for 40k, that would be the best of both worlds, right? That would help all the people that are upset about like losing options, and it would give people the ability to like make custom stuff. I don't know. If you want to run Death Company Intercessors, you're probably going to be buying Assault Intercessors and using them. Yeah, I mean, I think the Death Company Intercessors box was just like a regular Firstborn Intercessors box with a Primaris upgrade sprue in it. I don't actually think it's got a single Death Company specific thing in that box. which is kind of funny because like it's just a complete parallel to the, you know, like I was saying, the Death Company box has so many cool bits in it, and then I think the Death Company Intercessors box has nothing, literally nothing. It's just the Firstborn upgrade sprue for Blood Angels is better than the Primaris one as well. I feel like, apart from the only advantage of the Primaris one is it's got a couple of Primaris arms, which you don't get in the Firstborn one, obviously. But yeah, there's a lot of questionable stuff there to talk about, right? David says my cousin recently gifted me an unopened Blood Angels tactical squad. Well, you're a lucky man, because those Blood Angels tactical squads, I had one maybe like 2 or 3 years ago, and there was a lot of like custom backpacks or custom bits inside it that are just very, very cool. Highland Phoenix thinks Dante should get a way to get like bodyguard and stuff. I love Dante, I really do, but I hate his rules, Highland Phoenix. Like, his rules in 9th edition I felt were really bad. His rules in 10th edition, I feel like they're pretty bad as well, man. It's super annoying. Like, I just don't want to run Dante at all. What's even worse with Dante is if you run Sangre Guard, I feel like you want to run that captain that gives the Sangre Guard additional strength and the free CP. So it's like a double there's like 2 reasons not to run Dante. One, he's too expensive, and then the other one is just like the captain's just way better in terms of CP usage. Dante did have the, you know, he did have one ability to give CP last edition, but now it's just like, I guess he's got nothing CP wise, which is... This is the man that runs half the Imperium. He doesn't have anything that helps with CP. It's like, okay, whatever. I've bought extra kits for bits all over the place. I feel like that aspect discourages new players because they don't get everything in one box. Well then just... I don't know if I agree with that. I think they should just, for every faction, not just Blood Angels, but like every well, maybe for Space Marines it could even be generic. Like, it's just a box, like a Space Marines weapons. I don't know. Basically, it's an upgrade sprue, but an upgrade sprue just full of Space Marine weapons. Why couldn't we get that? You know, why not give the Primaris more options and give some sort of cool upgrade sprue that everybody wants? Like, I don't get it, man. I think it's, in some ways it's the same as they said, like, you know, list building was too confusing. We had this debate on my live stream, like, I think it was like Wednesday night? No, Wednesday night was playing, so it was Thursday night. We had a live stream on Thursday night where we were just debating that, like, hey, do you remember when they said, like, oh, it's going to be easier to write lists? Was anyone sitting there going, oh, I find list building so difficult, or, I hate like, most people really enjoy the list building. I do. It was one of the things I find the most fun, and then, like, customizing your list, you know, removing some units and finding the way to spend the final points was always really fun as well, and building that super optimal list, or feeling like you've like figured out that super optimal list. So all that, it's like, I don't know. I guess what we want and what Games Workshop want us to want are two very different things. It's kind of strange. Jaegerbomb says Desolation Squads are awesome. Jaegerbomb, how are you? It's nice to see you. I'm just painting them because I'm hoping infantry get a buff. right? We all know that armor's super strong at the moment. I'm hoping infantry gets some sort of buff. So I figured if infantry are maybe going to get a buff, then having like, you know, having 10 Desolation Marines. I keep wanting to call them Desolators, I don't know why. Having 10 Desolation Marines with 3 colours worth of paint on them, because this is just... Probably once I get 3 colours worth of paint on them, I'm probably just going to put them to the side and go back to painting tanks, because tanks are super dope right now. But I figure I'll just get 3 colours worth of paint on some Desolation Marines, so that I've got 3 colours of paint on them. It's good to paint things that are in bad spot. It's like buying stock which are low. I usually always focus my painting on my competitive lists though. I think I decided to do some infantry tonight because I feel like since, I don't know, like 6 or 8 weeks or something now, probably like 6 weeks, I've been doing nothing but painting armor. I was like, I could just boot up my stream, and I mean, I was in the middle of a repulsor and a Death Company dreadnought and a... What was the other thing I was in the middle of? The Ballistus dreadnought. So just, there's loads of armor I'm in the middle of painting. I thought to myself, what's what I changed tonight? And that's something that, I think I made another video on that, saying like, if you're struggling with motivation for what you're painting, which I don't necessarily know if I'm struggling with motivation, I just thought to myself it would be nice to paint something different from tanks, 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 and more tanks, right? Marius, what's happening, dude? Good evening. Using them with Bolter Discipline and Lieutenant as killer. Also Wings of Sanguinius from a Librarian Dreadnought. See, a lot of people have been taking the Apothecary with them so that they can spit them, or they can bring them back to life. The other thing that I've heard that is good with the Desolation Marines is apparently the... What did you say? The Lieutenant. You've got a Lieutenant, so you can reroll ones to hit. Ones to wound? The other thing people have been saying to take the Desolation Marines with is a Librarian, because a Librarian gives them a 4-up invuln. So I wonder if 4-up invuln is potentially better than the Apothecary. The Apothecary is very cheap though, right? Like, he's not many points at all. I don't know when I'm going to run Desolation Marines. I'm going to keep running the list that I've got at the moment, like the tank heavy list, because it's won 4 games in a row. I guess if it beats Miles and it wins 5 games in a row, then... And it's going to depend on the balance data slate as well. So, hopefully I can beat Miles, get 5 wins in a row, but then also need to see what's happening with the balance data slate. Because I probably would like to include a few more Blood Angel specific jump units, but I'm not going to run units that I don't feel are good, right? Like, if I'm going... I already booked a tournament in November, so if I'm going to that tournament in November, I'm going to win. Like, I don't mean like I'm going to win the tournament, but I'm bringing an army that can win the tournament. Like, I'm not turning up with something that's like not that strong just because I'm trying to hold on to what was good in 9th edition. No, I'm going to bring something that's going to try and win the event, right? That's my plan anyway. I hate painting tanks, says Warpsmith Acid. Not more t-shirt launcher Marines. Not telling. Apparently t-shirt launchers. Apparently. Do you think they'll take Apothecaries away from Blood Angels again? No, because they made Blood Angels like Codex compliant. If they're going to take Apothecaries away from Blood Angels again, then they need to take like Centurions away and all sorts of nonsense that we didn't have. I think There might have been a couple of flyers or something that we didn't have as well. I think we're codex compliant now, so I don't think. I mean, they might take Firstborn away because they're obviously deprecating a lot of Firstborn, but I don't think they'll take anything specifically away from Blood Angels. I'm heading to a tournament called Scottish Takeover. If you want a link to the Facebook for the tournament, I can probably find it. It's here in Elgin. It's a 2-day event. I've been going to Scottish Takeover every year for like maybe like 3 years now. I like it because it's close, so it means that like I can be home on the same day, so my wife isn't left totally with the kids. I went to a few tournaments like down in Stirling and stuff when I only had one kid, slash before I had any kids. I haven't been away to like too many overnight tournaments since I had the second kid, because my youngest kid is still only like, he was born in December. What's this? August, October, November, December. So he's only like 20 months old now. Yeah, 20 months old. So if you've ever had a 20-month-old kid, then like literally he requires a constant attention. Like just like yesterday I gave him a slice of salami without really thinking too much about it. It's just a slice of salami, you know, like for eating, and he just instantly tried to put the whole slice of salami in his mouth and just about choked on it. And I was like, oh my god. So today when I was giving him salami, I had to cut it up into like 15 different tiny little pieces, because sometimes he's good, like sometimes you can give him something and say to him like, chew it up and you'll be fine, and then other times you say that to him and he just tries to eat the whole thing and just about kills himself by choking on something that he shouldn't be eating in a oneer. So it's like, yeah, if you've got a 20-month-old kid, you gotta watch them like a hawk all the time, literally all the time. I mean, Michael finds stuff on the floor and just trying to eat it. We actually found, like, you know, on your radiators where you get those like caps that like cover the bleeding valve, like he just took one of the caps, a big plastic circle thing, off one of the radiators and tried to eat it, which is a giant choking hazard. I end up duct taping them all down onto the radiators so you can't pull them off. But yeah, so I've been trying not to go to too many overnight tournaments, just because, like, just to not leave my wife in the lurch with the two kids so much, right? But yeah, I've got a 2-day GT here locally in November. I'm looking forward to it. I've not been. I was gonna say, I don't think I've been to a 2-day event since. I was gonna say I was definitely one in January. Maybe I was in one in like March or something. It's kind of like having a Blood Angels army, constant updates, constant oversight. Yeah, it's just constant vigilance, I guess, on everything. So yeah, I mean, if my wife said to me she was going away for 2 nights overnight to and I was left with 2 kids, I mean, I would do it. I'm sure she would do it as well if I asked her nicely, but it's just like, I feel like it's a decent thing to do, is like, maybe once he's like 3, so maybe like 18 months from now, we'll go to tournaments overnight again, like far away, to book hotels and shit like that. Because I do like going to bigger events, because obviously you fight more varied opponents, and you fight better opponents, which in turn makes you a better opponent. I always think that you learn more from losing than you do from winning, and I always think that you learn more from playing better players than you are. You know, like if you just stomp someone, you don't learn all that much. Excuse me. If you play someone who's better than you and you are getting stomped, and then you're like, oh right, this is what I did wrong, Jesus, you know? A lot of Desolation Marines to paint. I was worried that Super Frag was more competitive, but I just liked how the crack looked. I think with these guys, you would honestly just be able to run either Super Frag or Super Crack on the actual model, and then when you get to the event, if the opponent just tell them. Like, I went to an event once that was supposed to be like a WYSIWYG event. Like, it's supposed to, like, it said on the thing, like, this is a WYSIWYG event. Everything needs to be WYSIWYG. And it was when Volcon Contemptors were really, really good. And like loads of people were running them, and I ran into a Dark Angels player, and like the second I got to the table, he just said, "Oh, these two dreadnoughts with the salt cannons on them, they've got Volkite cannons on them." And I was like, "Okay, cool." You know, it was like, and I knew it was a WYSIWYG event, and my opponent knew it was a WYSIWYG event, but it was almost just like, as long as it's reasonably close, assault cannons, an assault cannon arm on a dreadnought isn't a mile away from a Volkite cannon. And usually it's fine, right? So like if at some point in the future Super Frag is better, if I'm running these guys at an event and Super Frag's way better, I'll just tell my opponent, hey. Greg's taking his flesh tears to Nova. Well, good luck, dude. I hope. Are you running Seth? Are you running an armor heavy list, or what's your? Is your flesh tears list very melee? Very infantry focused? My nemesis is a Death Guard player. It sucked that Death Guard is a hard counter in 9th edition. Do you know what? Although Death Guard are a counter, or were a counter in 9th edition to Blood Angels, I want to say I beat Death Guard literally 99% of my games against them. Because they were slow as shit, man. Yes, they could like make us fight last with the... I forget the name of the unit. The foul blight spawn and stuff, but they were so slow. It was like you could just choose your engagements against Death Guard, and their Terminators. While they were a bit scary, I would always just fall back from them. They're just too slow. Dwayne says this is why I get stomped on a regular basis. I'm learning. Yeah, don't let it get you down, Dwayne. You'll learn more every time you lose. When I first came back to the hobby, I played Andrew a lot. If you ever watch my live streams, Andrew's an opponent that I have on stream a lot. And Andrew always plays like super meta lists. Like, he just takes like the cheesiest, most overpowered thing he can find and goes hard on it. And like, if he doesn't have that, like the week that I think at the end of in Arcs of Omen, he just walked out one day and bought like 4 Gladiator tanks because he was like, "Oh, Gladiator tanks are amazing right now for Iron Hands. So I'm just gonna buy 4 of them." And I think he had 2 Reapers and 2 Valiants in a list or something like that. Reapers just to mop up infantry. And so when I first came back to the hobby, I want to say for like 6 months I just played Andrew probably once a week, every week, and just lost every single game. Like every single game. Like, it was right before I started filming videos for this channel. I was literally literally every week I would lose against Andrew. And I did that for like 6 months. I didn't let it get me down. I learned in every single game. And then right when I started this channel, I think one of the reasons this channel did well when I started it was because I was playing the live game every week, and I was winning every single game. Like, every single time you tune into the channel, I was winning. And I went on a giant streak. It was like the longest streak I ever had of wins, probably, in like 40k, and that like I played like... I'm probably exaggerating a little bit, but it was at least 15, and it was close to 20. Maybe it was like 17. So like just when I started this channel on YouTube, 17 weeks in a row, if anyone tuned in to the live game on a Wednesday, I was winning. And I won like 17 times in a row. So I think it gave me some credibility, and that it was like, yeah, you know, like, hey, this guy's been playing Blood Angels for a while, he knows what he's doing. Funny fact is, if you've been able to see the games for the 6 months before I started the channel, you'd have literally seen me lose. I don't know how many You know, literally if it was 6 months, 26 games in a row, I would have lost. So I lost 26 games in a row, and then I started my channel and won 17 in a row. So, like, don't let losses get you down, I guess. Learn, and also, even if you're not learning just what your opponent is doing, you're also learning the strengths and weaknesses of your units, right? Alright, I'm kind of getting bored of painting. Ammo rails for Desolation Marines. Oh. It's been a little while since we've done a batch paint, I guess. No, Seth, he's a beast, but he gets shot to death with Assault Marine buddy. With Assault Marines going away, I stepped away from Seth until I know more of what I can pair him with. Fair enough. Lots of Predator tanks with 10 Desolation Marines. Okay. Jaeger Mom says he feels like he's playing Blood Angels. I think he means to say as a generic chapter. He feels like he's playing Ultramarines in Red. It does feel a lot different. I'll give you that, Jaeger Mom. Playing 10th edition feels so much different. It's been a little, like, for me it feels a little bit refreshing, right? Like, if you go back to like playing Blood Angels for a long period of time, like, we had to be so cagey. Like, every game we played, we have to be super cagey in 9th edition. We had to hide everybody in ruins. We had to make sure that nobody could be seen at all with line of sight and all this. And then in 10th edition, you just, like, someone, Highland Phoenix said it maybe just 10 minutes ago, it was like, my list looks like a parking lot for tanks. And I was like, yeah, I mean, it does look like a parking lot for tanks, but you know what? It's a completely different game for me. It's just like, I just line up all my tanks, and I guess, yes, the game is very different. Feels maybe not as Blood Angels as we would like, but I think the 10th edition rules are good. So use this time to learn the rules. You know, I think Melee's got a lot of disadvantages at the moment. The consolidation, the pile-in changes, and the fighting through units, those changes are actually kind of huge. Not many people are talking about it. Oh, there's a Canon Genius chapter? Genesis chapter? Okay, I don't know that one, actually. But I'll take your word for it. I feel like the first couple of games I played with my armor list felt very weird. Like, really weird. Like, I didn't know if I liked it, or I didn't know how to play it, or maybe a bit of both. But now that I've played, like, a bunch of games with my armor heavy list, it's growing on me a little bit. It's very different, but I don't hate it. I like that I've still got some jump units in my list. I like that I've still got some Death Company. I guess in some ways I like being less reliant on charges as well, because charges are... You know, winning and losing games on charges is always annoying. Shooting armies have a big advantage like that, in that they just don't need to worry about it. So I guess, like, if you're bringing a bunch of vehicles, then you just don't need to worry about having to make as many charges, which is quite nice. I actually failed a charge this week that was almost like game-changing, right? Like, failed a 7-inch charge with a reroll with a Death Company Dreadnought, which was like, oh god, this is a charge I really needed to go off. So, yeah, I think losing the +1 to charge for Blood Angels is actually pretty huge, and then losing the ability to fight through, or fight within like a ½ inch is pretty huge. And then the consolidation changes of potentially being like stuck out in the open after you kill models and not being able to consolidate to get back into cover is actually pretty difficult to deal with as well. So there's so many changes to Melee. I get why they did the changes to melee, because they're trying to remove some of the janky things that can happen in melee, where like a very experienced player can do a lot more with melee units than an inexperienced player. But I think, yeah, well, we'll see. There's a balanced data slate next week. As soon as it comes out, I'll make a video, or maybe even do a live stream whenever the balanced data slate comes out. I think we can talk over all the bits and bobs. It should be a fun video, or it should be a fun thing to look at, I suppose. Blood Angels Lower says they have the most Land Raiders after the Horus Heresy, as most of their tanks were left on Baal. I believe Blood Angels are also supposed to have one of the most amounts of Dreadnoughts as well. That's why we have like the 3 chapter specific Dreadnoughts, the Furioso, the Death Company, and the Librarian Dreadnought. Is anyone actually... So how many people we got in here tonight? 47. Is anyone out of you 47 playing... I know a few people said they were playing Land Raider Redeemers. Is anyone playing any of the other variants? And liking it? Or recommending it? In 10th, and if you are playing a Redeemer, are you playing just one, and what are you putting inside it? Like, what are people thinking about Land Raiders? So I've been having a lot of luck with, like, I've really been liking the Repulsor. But I think that's just because the Repulsor's super, like, it's not super cheap. But it's cheap considering it's toughness 12 and it carries, like, actually don't know how many carries, 12? 12 infantry, I think? I hate what they did to Sangregard, Vanguard Veterans, and hope the new jump intercessors are decent. I mean, I hate what they did to a lot. I think yeah, I mean, we could talk about why Vanguard. We could literally pick every single jump unit that's there, Jaegerbomb, and talk about why it's bad, right? Like, it's there's a big disparity as well between like the toughness of vehicles and the strength of melee weapons that are carried by infantry. Like, the disparity there is just huge. So I think there's a lot of negative things on all those units. Sangregard are too expensive, Vanguard Veterans basically have no options, and low AP and low strength. Sangregard arguably got really low strength as well now. So yeah, there's a lot of problems with Blood Angels melee. Which is, I was going to say, I guess it's fine, but it's also, I get it why it's frustrating. And the only thing I was going to say is I can't, like, somebody said in my comments about yesterday's video, because like TJ, who made the video, or whose list I made the video about yesterday, obviously won a tournament using Blood Angels, and I think out with like Librarian Dreadnought, he had like nothing that, I don't think he had a single melee weapon in his list out with the Librarian Dreadnought. And I guess like somebody put in the comments, they were like, I would rather lose games with Sons of Sanguinius than resort to running all this like armor and tanks and Desolation Marines or whatever. And I guess for me it comes down to like, I just want to be competitive, and I've been to a bunch of tournaments in various editions where my army wasn't competitive, and I don't enjoy that. I don't like lining up my force at a tournament and looking at my opponent's list and going, okay, so they win this game, right? Like, unless the dice rolls go like crazily badly for my opponent, and unless he's like an absolute, let's say he's a moron. I was going to say, is that a politically correct thing to say? He's a moron or an idiot, I don't win the game, right? Like, the balance is just that bad that unless he doesn't know what he's doing or whatever, I can't win this game, and I hate being in that situation. So I guess that's why I'm willing to just run stuff that I think is strong. Mario said he ran a standard Land Raider in 10th. It took an absolute beating and barely got scratched. using Armor of Contempt. I was going to say, yeah, it's so easy to get cover on tanks now. You can just obscure like a very small part of the tank and then you play Armor of Contempt. You're basically ignoring 2 AP, right? But with the cover and with Armor of Contempt. And I was doing that on my Vindicators, because I'm running 2 Vindicators. And like Vindicators on toughness 11 with like 11 wounds, and there's a Tech Marine in my list. And then they're on, obviously Vindicators on a 2-up save, so being able to ignore 2 AP what from cover and Armor of Contempt means you're hitting my like my toughness 11 Vindicator, you're trying to hit it on -3 and I'm just saving on 3s. I could save for days on that. Yeah, I mean, I guess that's the one thing Land Raider has over the Repulsor is the extra +1 to save for the points. Yeah, I tried a Land Raider a couple of times. I always end up doing very little. Like Land Raider's got like double las cannon on both sponson, and then the twin heavy bolter, and then it can have a multi-melta, and it can have maybe like a hunter killer missile, and it can have a storm bolter. Whenever I run a Land Raider on paper, it looks really good. Like it's like, oh, this thing has a lot of guns, and then when I actually get to the game and start shooting, it's like, oh, this thing has done nothing for me again. And maybe I'm just unlucky with Land Raiders. I don't know. But I always feel like looking at them on paper, they look more exciting than whatever they end up doing for me in the battle. But no, I played the standard Land Raider, and I played. No, I was going to say I never. Yeah, that was it. I just played the standard one. I think I maybe played it twice, and then I played the Repulsor once, and I was like never going back. Just because of the cheapness of the Repulsor. Weird thing to say. I never thought I would be saying the Repulsor was like competitive because it's cheap. Because at one point, when it first came out, the Repulsor was horrifically overcosted. Games Workshop have had a really poor track record for bringing in the new Marine tanks at a competitive cost. Even like the Hammerfall Bunker, right? Like the Hammerfall Bunker came in at like 175 points, and then the balanced data slate, they put it down to like 100. It's like, so hold on, that thing was like, what, 40% more expensive than it needed to be? They've not had a good track record on that stuff, I guess. The Crusader is better than using the standard. I mean, I would disagree now, because I don't think the Crusader has any guns that are useful. Right? Like, it's got a twin assault cannon, which is useless. And then it's got a bunch of bolters, which, if you're playing into like any sort of current meta army with like loads of vehicles, then I mean, I don't know what bolter fire is going to bring for you. Very little, I would wager. Hello Wildling, good evening, how are you? Mac's going to be trying to redeem her for the first time next game. Are you doing Sons of Sanguinius, Mac, or are you doing Gladius? Quite fancy trying to redeem her with Gladius. I'm just worried about the points cost being a bit high. It's like 100 points more than a Repulsor. It's kind of crazy when you think of 100 points. It was awesome for me. I had Marnius Calgar in it with a unit of Flame Aggressors. Not sure if it's competitive, but it did a lot of work. Did you have the Vitrix Guard with Calgar then as well, or just Calgar plus? Or do you I think you have to take the Vitrix Guard, right? Is it just poor marketing that the bolt gun game came out when bolt guns are the weakest they have ever been in the meta? I mean, bolt guns were pretty bad in last edition as well, to be fair. You know, they wounded stuff on 6s a lot last edition and had no AP as well, so I was going to say, yeah, I mean, I guess arguably you could say they're weaker than this edition, because at least last edition you would get like a couple of turns of Tactical Doctrine, which would give them a couple of turns of AP. Yeah, sorry, so does Calgar and the Victrix, do they attach to aggressors, or just the aggressors are just a separate squad? Because I know you can attach Calgar and the Victrix to Blade Guard, which I thought sounded pretty cool, actually. I feel very jealous that Calgar can attach to Blade Guard when Mephiston cannot. Why can't Mephiston attach to Blade Guard? It makes no sense that Mephiston would be with, like, Assault Intercessors or Stern Guard. I was like, Mephiston is gonna be with the Blade Guard up on the front line, smashing things with the Vitarius. Like, why is he not allowed to attach to Blade Guard? He would be really good with Blade Guard as well, because Mephiston gives fight first. So you'd have a really strong squad of Blade Guard that, I mean, charge them at your peril, I guess, right? How did your arm heal up? It's getting there, Wildling. I'd kind of hoped it had been 100% by now, but no, my arm can still get pretty stiff at times. And, yeah, I don't know when it'll be 100%. I'll still have to do stretches all the time on it. Haven't skateboarded all that much since I broke my arm, though. I'm a little sad about it, but I think if I was gonna skateboard again, I'd want to buy like a much better, like a much more off-road style skateboard. The path to my work isn't the greatest, so I've been using the walking as exercise. So, well, yeah, I did enjoy. Like, I hadn't skateboarded a lot since I was a kid, so I was really enjoying skateboarding again. But I think it's maybe just too dangerous. Or to break my neck skateboarding or something like that. I did film a little video of me skateboarding again, like maybe during the summer, but like, I don't know, I guess I never stuck with it. Calgar can go with any Gravis. I was gonna say, how come Ultramarines get all the good stuff, huh? I actually really enjoyed last edition when we were allowed to take, or what was it, Arcs of Omen, when we were allowed to take Guilliman in our list. It was actually really fun for Blood Angels. I've never played with a monster before. Blood Angels have never had access to a monster, so it was really fun to get access to Guilliman for like one season. I really enjoyed that. Jagerbomb, thank you so much for the 5 USD. I'm looking forward to Nova. Yeah, I think we're gonna see Jump Intercessors. I really do.
Jagerbomb2 donated $5 via Super Chat. I'm looking forward to Nova. We should see the new Jump Intercessors and hopefully painted MK6 Jump Assault. What do you hope to see model-wise?
I mean, model-wise is different to what I want to see weapon options. Like, I do not want to see like 10-man guy, or what would it be, like a 10-man Jump Intercessor squad, and we're allowed like one chain sword, sorry, one special weapon on the sergeant, and like one eviscerator. That's what I 100% do not want to see. I want to see weapon options. I want to see, like, you know, like an assault squad, you get 2 melta guns, you get 2 eviscerators, and then the sergeant can do like a combat shield and a special weapon and a melee weapon. Like, I want to see Primaris squads with options, Jaeger bomb. I could be barking at, I could be delusional, I guess, but that's what I want to see. Like, if it was up to me, that's what I want. I want Primaris squads with options, fun options that we had in the previous editions that I think were balanced just fine. Like, I want the options back. You know, a lot of the Primaris units I don't run because I think that their lack of options sucks, for lack of a better word. Like, there's Infernus Marines. Like, I just can't, like, Sternguard. Like, Sternguard can't even take, you can't even put a melee weapon on the Sergeant for the Sternguard anymore. You know, it's just like, why? How is a Sergeant on a Sternguard squad with a single Power Fist? How is that, you know, like, don't tell me that debalances the whole game or something, right? Like, that's fine. It was fine. Did anyone, you know, like, when Intercessor squads could have Thunderhammers on the Intercessor squads, did anyone ever, like, come away from a tournament going, oh my god, those Intercessor Thunderhammers, what a joke, that's not balanced, I can't stand this. No one said that ever. You know? I don't think anyone ever probably came away from a tournament saying, like, oh, those assault squads with 2 eviscerators, they were broken. You know, they weren't. They were fine. My fear is that this new jump unit that we're getting is going to have no weapon options. And if it does, then I'm going to be super disappointed. I was going to say, beyond that, what's my hopes? I mean, we just got the new Brutalis Dreadnought. Arguably, we just got the Desolation Marines not that long ago. We just got, like, Terminators, I guess. Like, a reimagining of the Terminators or something. Like, so I don't particularly know what else we could be getting. Someone said that they were hoping for a new tank. I don't know if we need a new tank. I don't think we need a new Dreadnought, that's for sure. We got 3 of those Redemptor style Dreadnoughts now. The Redemptor, the Brutalis, and the Ballistas. The Gladiator's a pretty all-round tank. The Repulsor and the Executioner are okay. The Land Raider's okay. So, I mean, the only thing that they could maybe bring out is a Primaris Flyer. But I don't feel like Games Workshop have a high priority on flying models. Like, I don't know if we particularly will see those. Yeah, I think the main thing for me is, like, please give us options. Please give us options on the new Primaris squads, especially the jump infantry squads. If Blood Angels have to base their army around those squads, and I think that's the thing that list from yesterday proved, like, a lot of Blood Angels players want to be playing Sangregar Death Company Assault Marines. Well, you aren't going to be able to play, if, you know, like, the reason that Death Company worked was because you could put 5 Thunderhammers in the squad. The reason they probably still work at the moment is you can put 5 Infernal Pistols, 5 Power Fists in the squad. If you can't do that, like the Death Company Intercessors, then I don't think they work. So, you know, like, I feel like I can count on one hand, the number of times we've looked at an army list with Death Company Intercessors. Like, it never happens. Even if it has good weapon options for the new jump units, is there good weapons in the armory? Well, I mean, I think Power Fists are probably the best weapons in the armory right now, because I really don't rate Thunderhammers myself. But I think that the weapon options, like I think the problem maybe is just that vehicles have too much toughness. So I think Games Workshop need to figure out how they're fixing that. And I've said a bunch of times on the stream that I think the reason, I think if you go back to 9th edition, there's only a few things that had more than toughness 8. Like use a Rogel Darn or a Great Unclean One, for example. They were toughness 9 and they were super difficult to bring down, right? Toughness 9, because all the weapons, well, I mean, except not many people were running lots of las cannons. I guess the meta has shifted, so people are running more las cannons. But regardless, I feel like toughness 9 was kind of a breaking point there. So what I would have probably done is, like, if you look at the repulsor being toughness 12, I probably, if it was up to me, if I was the one balancing things, I'd have probably not put the repulsor at toughness 12. I'd have put it at toughness 10. I would have kept like toughness 10 for those crazy tanky things, like a repulsor, like a land raider, like a big knight or something, like a Great Unclean One. And then I would have put a lot of the other stuff maybe in at like toughness 9. So like Blood Angel's Power Fists with their +1 strength would have been actually pretty useful, you know, especially if you paid the +1 to wound. You could have got some wounding on some armor on like 3s or something with Power Fists, but I think that's another whole conversation. Marius thinks we could get a new Land Raider kit. I mean, that would be quite cool. The Land Raider is very dated, and it seems like it's one of the units that they actually really care about, Marius. Like, it feels like they really want Land Raiders to be relevant. I have no you know, like, because I was very bitter about the removal of some of those Primaris, Firstborn units, like a few weeks back. I have zero problem with them bringing out new kits, upscaled kits, like the Terminator kit, you know. I love that, actually. Like, I love the fact, like if they brought out a new Sangre Guard kit or a new Jump Intercessor kit, if it meant I can still use my old kits, but over time I can buy the new ones, and the new ones just are cooler, because obviously Primaris models have better scale, and most of the time they do look a little bit cooler, they're a little bit stunty. Like, that's what I'm looking for, really. Like, I want to still be able to use my old shit, but be allowed to use the new stuff if I want, as opposed to where it is right now, which is like sometimes they just say like, hey, you remember all that old stuff that you had and that was cool, you just can't use any of it, and that grinds my gears. So yeah, let's see what happens, but let's hope that the Jump Intercessors, because I think that's what they're going to be called, or at least the rumor I've heard is that they're going to be called Jump Intercessors. Let's hope that the Jump Intercessors have good, I was going to say, have good weapon options, have some weapon options. I hope so. I really do hope so, because I think that would just be a good thing for Primaris going forward. Like, make their units a little less one-dimensional and give them some options. And I really don't think it unbalances anything. You know, like one Space Marine with an extra melee weapon or something. I think it's fine. A new land speeder with Primaris skilled pilots? Ooh, like an actual land speeder that's different from the storm speeder? That'd be interesting. Alright guys, I'm going to paint this last ammo belt, and then I'm going to take off for the night. So if you get any final questions, hit me with them right now. Otherwise, you'll have to leave me a comment. You can also hit like on the stream if you like, because that does help me out and I do appreciate it. But you know, once we get the reveals from Nova open, we'll try and cover them. I'm pretty good at covering all the new Space Marine stuff on the channel, so we'll cover it and we'll talk about it. And once we get the balance data slate, we'll do the tier lists. I know some places have already begun, like some YouTube channels have already begun doing tier lists and stuff like that. I'm not going to do the tier lists until we know that this is, like, if the balance data slate comes out and nothing's changed with armor and armor's still super dominant, then fine. I guess armor's going to be super dominant for 3 more months. and we'll do tier lists with the knowledge that armor, like, you know, this is an armor based edition, I guess, and Games Workshop want armor to be super strong. If for some reason there's a balance, you know, like something gets changed and armor gets changed and infantry get much better, then either way we'll be doing the tier lists. We'll figure out how we rate every unit and what's good, and I guess we'll cover some of those edge case units like Highland Phoenix came up tonight, where it's like, you know, the Stormhawk Interceptor could actually be very useful into Aldar because it's pure amount of anti-vehicle 2+. Which honestly is something I consider it more when I'm being shot at than or on the offensive. I think GW may be lazy and just paint the new jump intercessors black and call them Death Company. There was a rumor last edition that Valrak had, right? Jägermeister or Jägerbomb, that like Blood Angels were gonna get like a whole refresh, like the Black Templars had. Like it's gonna be a whole box with new models, and I mean, I assume that these things get planned out years in advance, right? So like most of the time last edition, I feel like if Valrak covered it, he was pretty accurate. Like he knew loads of stuff. Like he knew that there was a new Dante, I think, before there was a new Dante. I feel like he definitely knew about some of these models. So I don't know what I believe, but I guess what I sort of think that there will be. I mean, at some point, I don't think there'll be. I don't know. I hope Death Company Intercessors were a bad example. Like, I hope they were a rushed idea by somebody, and hopefully, like, Games Workshop must know how much they sell every kit, right? Like, they must have sales numbers for every kit. So hopefully the sales numbers for the Death Company Intercessor kit is crap, and they realise that, and you know, they'll do a bit more effort, or they'll do a bit of a better job on future Death Company releases, or future Assault Marine releases, or hopefully. Right. I bet he saw Dante and just exaggerated what was coming. I mean, you'd be surprised at how accurate he is. I think he must have an inside source at Games Workshop, because he's uncannily, he knows the releases, and sometimes he knows them to the schedule like months in advance. Valrak is the Fulgen train. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure he knew that it was the Lion that was coming as well, so you have a suspicion that a jump-themed Christmas box. I don't think it will be a Christmas box, because I think they've had plenty of other Christmases since they introduced Primaris Marines to do some jump sort of Christmas thing. I think if they'd wanted to do that, they would have done it by now. But who knows? I mean, I don't know anything. I guess we'll have to cover some of it next week. Hey guys, thank you so much for hanging out tonight. I do really appreciate it. Thank you for the super chat, and thank you to everyone that everybody watches and everyone that's got a green name. It's super appreciated. I'll try and be here tomorrow night to talk over some army lists. So if you want to come and hang out for an hour tomorrow night, we'll talk over some Blood Angels lists and what people are playing at the moment. So I'll be live from about 8:30, and if you can't make that, then on Wednesday I'm playing. Miles is playing the Leviathan mids against me, so that should be good on Wednesday. And yeah, I guess have a great night. Thanks so much for watching. It's been fun hanging out. Catch you in the next one. Peace.
Greetings, brothers. Welcome to the Blood Angels Commander channel.